What's up, YouTube? And I'm back at you with another video. And in this video, I'm going to give my prediction for the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Big matchup. You got the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs going on the road to Tuscaloosa to play the Alabama Crimson Tide, who's currently ranked number 4. A lot of implications on this matchup, I feel. Uh, Good thing about this matchup, though, whoever the loser is of this matchup, it doesn't define their season or anything like that. Um, so this is a good thing, going forward for both teams. Whoever the losing team is, you still have a lot more to do on the schedule, to potentially still get in the playoffs. So, but nevertheless, big matchup between two titans in college football. You have the Georgia Bulldogs, who are considered right now the best team in the country, even though they're currently ranked number 2. A lot of people still have them as the number 1 team in the country. Uh, I still think they're really, the best team in the country. Um, but you got the Alabama Crimson Tide going, entering a new era with Kalen DeBoer as the new head coach. And a lot of stuff is on stakes, I feel like, in this matchup, just for, the program as a whole. You have the Georgia Bulldogs, like I said, have been dominant the last couple of seasons. Um, like I said, a lot of people look at them as the number 1 team, and you have the Alabama Crimson Tide, who Nick Saban has, retired. They're entering a new era, and what it both basically comes down from what I'm hearing from different people: can Kirby Smart beat a non-Nick Saban led team? That's the big thing that everybody's talking about. And I'm gonna get into a little preview of both teams, and I'm gonna give my opinion at the end of what I think is going to happen in this matchup. I'm gonna start with Georgia. Y'all know Georgia is a very talented team. Uh, at quarterback, they got Carson Beck. So far, he's thrown for 680 yards passing. He has a completion percentage of 68.3. That's really good. He has 7 touchdowns on the season, and hasn't thrown an interception. So that's really good. Um, At running back, they have Trevor Etienne, a transfer from Florida. He has 157 yards rushing. Has yet to get a touchdown yet. I'm gonna get into you know out Georgia's running game in a minute, but they also have Nate Frazier. He has a touchdown. He has 113 yards rushing, and Cash Jones. He has a touchdown. He only has 19 yards on the season, but he has a touchdown as well. And Branson Robinson is another guy that they have with 39 yards rushing, and he has 2 touchdowns. So that's Georgia's running back room. And Carson Beck, really good player. Definitely a dangerous opponent for Alabama. Can definitely, uh, he's going to be the best quarterback that Alabama has played so far this season. No doubt about that. He's definitely on the Heisman list as one of the best players in the country. So very dangerous matchup for Alabama, and I'm gonna get into more of that later on when I, give my prediction. But very good team overall. Wide receiver, they got Dominic Lovett. He has 155 yards receiving, a touchdown. Arian Smith, he has a touchdown with 142. Dylan Bell with 98 yards receiving. I mean, the list goes on. Oscar Delp, guy that stepped in for Brock Bowers last season. A really good player as well. Big guys for the Georgia Bulldogs offense, and they're very loaded everywhere. You know, Georgia recruits at a very high level and a very good team overall. Defensively, ever since Kirby Smart's been there, Georgia always puts out a really good defense. Smell Munden, Malachar Starks on the back end, one most talented DBs in the country, man. A really good player. But there's some question marks. Georgia's had some guys injured, uh, but this main guy that I feel can make a big impact in this matchup on the D line is Mikael Williams. If this guy comes in, Georgia can have a very good chance of beating Alabama with him on their D line, especially going against a quarterback in Jalen Merrill. So I've heard some things about him possibly maybe coming back. Uh, how healthy will he be though? It's going to be, interesting to see. But Georgia probably got the best defense in the country, if you ask me. If not the best, they're up there definitely. Really, really good team overall, and like I said, you expect that with Kirby Smart, coaching up this team. So if you're a Georgia fan, you can always, rely on Georgia having a good defense as long as Kirby Smart is there. For Alabama, of course, they have Jalen Miro. He's thrown for a total of, let me see, passing yards. He has 590 passing yards. Really, really good. He's a really, really good quarterback. He kills defenses with his legs, though. He has improved, passing wise. I feel like there's some areas where he still needs to improve, especially intermediate passing. But he's done a phenomenal job of, passing the ball and being able to utilize the offense. I would like for him to utilize, more of the offense. Is he capable of doing it? We'll have to see. I feel like the offense, it's okay. It's very, very explosive, but I would like to see the offense move a little bit better than it has. Have put together consistent drives. But nevertheless, he has one of the best deep balls in the country. And like I said, his legs, he's really, really good with his legs. Running back, Alabama has um, Jam Miller and Justice Haynes, and Richard Young is the guy that got injured, but I don't know the status on him. I think he's been kind of day to day, but Jam Miller is definitely the leading guy in the rushing attack with 265 yards rushing. So definitely a guy to look out for if Georgia were to, play in this matchup. They got to watch out for Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. Alabama's run game has been pretty decent. It's not where I would like it to be, but it's pretty decent for right now. They're going against a very, very stout Georgia defense, though. So can Alabama establish the run? Is going to be interesting. Wide receiver, leading receiver is Ryan Williams with 285 yards receiving. Has been dynamic for Alabama. Jalen Miros tends to, get him the ball a lot. It's going to be interesting in this matchup. You're going against a Georgia defense that I feel like is going to try to shut Ryan Williams down. So, like I was saying earlier, Jalen Miro has to get the ball out, and move the ball down the field. You can't just rely on explosive plays with Ryan Williams, and that's a concern for me going in this matchup. Can he distribute the ball to other playmakers beside Ryan Williams? But that's going to be very, very interesting to see. Alabama has guys like Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, Jeremy Bernard, transferred from Washington. So Alabama has playmakers. They have tight ends as well. C.J. Dupree. Uh, those guys haven't really been utilized yet. C.J. Dupree and Kobe Prentice and Kendrick Law. So got to be able to distribute the ball. If you can't do that, it's going to be a long day for Alabama, I feel. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Defensively for Alabama, Jahad Campbell leads the team with 28 tackles. Uh, he's all over the field, really, really good player. Of course, you have Deontay Lawson as well. Those two guys playing the linebacker position have been very, very productive for Alabama. This defense overall, Swarm D on the Kane Womack, they're playing a lot faster. You can tell that the defense has been, dialed back. It's not as difficult as Nick Saban's. But I do have a concern in this matchup. They don't play a two gap, scheme anymore. It's more of a lineup and attack. And that can be deadly for Alabama if they're not careful going against this Georgia Bulldogs offensive line. By the way, Georgia, one of their best offensive linemen, is out, so that could play a factor in this matchup. But we'll see. But Georgia still has guys backed up, on that O line that can come in. I think they have like 5 guys that's had like 4 or 5 starts. So I expect Georgia to still, even though they don't have their top player on the O line, they'll still be able to compete with Alabama up front. Also defensively for Alabama, they have Keon Sabb on the back end, talented player from Michigan, and he has 2 interceptions on the season. So, let me go back to Georgia. Georgia has on the back end, yeah, Malachi Starks, he has 1 interception as well. So, and their leading tackler is C.J. Allen. So, like I said, you got 2 talented teams going against each other. Both teams have really, really good defenses, and it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking at the line, and currently right now, the lines is, I've seen different lines. Currently, it's like, I think at -3, something like that. I saw other places it was -2, but in favor of Georgia. Like I said, this is going to be a matchup in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Georgia is going on the road. If I had to give my prediction for this matchup, this was a tough, decision to make. I'm picking Alabama, but I'm not too confident. And the reason why I say that, sure, Alabama has looked, pretty good in their last outing against Wisconsin. But they struggled against USF, and a lot of people will say, they put, we put Elijah Pritchett in there, and the offense looks a whole lot better, since we took out, our right tackle, you know. But in my opinion, USF had a really, really good game playing defensively, and one of the best defensive minds in the country is Kirby Smart, no doubt. Last season in the SEC championship, I noticed, he played, 2 spies on Jalen Miro, and I'm thinking in this matchup he's going to change up his plan from the SEC championship, and I think he's going to actually blitz more. Um, has Alabama really improved on the O-line as far as picking up blitzes? We're going to really, really find out in this matchup, I feel. Georgia lost that matchup. Georgia's on a winning streak and was on their way to possibly going on a three-peat. I think Kirby Smart is going to have this team, really, really fired up, especially coming off of that Kentucky game. They only won by a point against Kentucky, and I hear a lot of people say, Kentucky plays them tough, but Alabama plays, Georgia tough as well. So, but it comes down to, can Alabama pick up the blitzes against Georgia? If Alabama can overcome that storm, which I believe is going to be a storm coming, defensively for Georgia, I think Alabama will be able to do it. I think Alabama's O-line has improved, but like I said, this is a determining factor against this Georgia Bulldog defense. And Georgia's going to come prepared, man. If I were Kirby Smart, I'll try to play zone instead of playing man-to-man in this matchup. Try to confuse Jalen Miro, kind of stop the run, and then force Jalen Miro to try to pass the ball downfield and play zone, and try to confuse him with the the defense on the back end. I think that's Georgia's path to win this matchup. But I got Alabama winning simply because I think Alabama's O-line has improved. I think Alabama can run the ball effectively. I looked at some stats, on their matchup, Georgia's matchup against Kentucky. Kentucky was able to get 170 yards rushing on Georgia. Now, granted, it was only 3.8 yards a rush, a carry, but still, this Georgia defense, their rush defense is not as good as it used to be. It has been in the past. And the same thing can be said about Alabama's defense. Can Alabama's defense put a lot of pressure on Georgia's O-line, considering they have one of their key players out? That's going to be an interesting part in this matchup. If Alabama's defense is able to rattle Carson Beck, which the Kentucky defense did, this can be a long night for Georgia. But Georgia does have one thing that I think they can exploit on Alabama's defense: their run game. Alabama gave up some rushing yards too against Wisconsin. They actually gave up 149 yards on the ground. So Georgia's a very, very dangerous team to go against. If Georgia can get 4 yards a carry or 5, that's down their alley, offensively. So this is a tough matchup. Like I said, it can literally go either way. I feel both defenses have been, you know, been able, to allow a lot of rushing yards. So it's going to be very, very interesting. If Georgia can run the ball like Wisconsin did, Georgia can easily win this matchup. But I think it's going to be a close matchup. I think Alabama's going to get the victory, close victory. I'm thinking maybe like a 24-21, something like that, uh, win. Like I said, these are two of the best teams in the country. Um, like I said, it can literally go either way. I would not be surprised if Georgia won this matchup. Like I said, revenge factor. Um, we kicked them out of the playoffs last season, So, and Kalen DeBoer's first time playing against Georgia, um, considered the best team, one of the best teams in the country. Can Kalen DeBoer beat Georgia? That's going to be key. But and can Kirby Smart beat Alabama without Nick Saban? Was it just a Saban thing, or was it just an Alabama thing? That's going to be very, very interesting. The pressure, in my opinion, is on Georgia to win this matchup. Can they overcome that pressure and win? That remains to be seen. But I got Alabama winning in a close one at home. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.